Hi, everybody. Joe Grushkin from the National Association of Local Businesses, and we are going to be doing a workshop today on preparing for a new year as a business. And as such, I'm going to be sharing some thoughts on strategically planning your business and goals for the new year. And if you'd like to take notes and start to uh, put some thoughts together, the first thing we're going to talk about for your business is the concept of SMART goals. Now, I'm sure you've all heard the phrase SMART goals. Can anybody quickly say what the word SMART, the acronym SMART stands for without Googling it? Okay, it's always, everybody's heard it. Everybody understands the concept, but what I want to do is I want to really drill into it over the next 15 minutes or so. And then from there, come out of that with a conversation where we'll talk about what those SMART goals are. And well, I'll give you the overview. SMART is an acronym, SMART, and it stands for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based. Now, I'm going to pause here for a second, but let that kind of ferment a little bit and give you guys a little background on the fact that I've been a sales manager and trainer for 38 years now. It's getting longer and longer. And in that, I've taken countless, I can't even think of the number, countless courses. I've attended all the seminars that you could take. I listened to all the CDs and the the not CDs, but the what was that before? Cassette tapes back in the day with the iPhone. It wasn't even an iPhone. It was the Walkman with the headphones, so you could hear it at your desk and playing it in your car. Hearing all the cassette tapes of the speakers who made their bones, if you will, becoming great authors and contributors to the personal development community. And SMART goals has always been something. Now, goal setting is not a new concept. Everybody understands it. But how you break it down and it relates to your business is always something many people miss the bridge between where they are and where they want to be, and the technique is the bridge to get you to that next level. Now, I'm not bragging or boasting, but when I coached people, I was getting somewhere in the neighborhood of $500 an hour for this kind of coaching. And this would be one of the sessions that I would do with my clients to help them get on that bridge from where they are to where they want to be. And half the battle is understanding the concept of SMART goals. So let's dive into that and get a handle on this, because I think people don't understand a lot of the details within the SMART concept. With me?
Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So the first step is specific. And when you have fake teeth like I have, because I still have that temporary bridge in there, the word specific is very hard to say. So specific goals. Now, what is a specific goal? I wish it was a different word. What is a specific goal? Well, it's something that you can really say definitively. You can paint the picture of what it is. Now, it may be different in every business. For instance, my specific goal in my business for the new year is to have a minimum, which is specific, because now I know it'll be greater than, but to have a minimum of 25 salespeople who all are generating a minimum of 2 sales per week. And those customers are going to be with us for a minimum of 6 months. Okay. Now, it could be different. As an accountant, it could be we want to have 25 or 10 new business customers that are generating a $30,000 annual a fee, or 100 new medical customers, or 200 new downline recruits. It doesn't matter what business you're in. You all know what the metrics are, but it's important to have a specific number. That number, or that specific goal, has to be clear. You have to be able to write it down. And I also like to say they need to sometimes be a little bit bohog, big, hairy, audacious goals. A bohog. Sometimes it's a big, hairy, audacious goal. Now, I want to also temper that by saying, when you set a goal, a specific goal, there are three categories I like to put goals in when we're talking about specific. There's what I call the forecast, then there's the projection, and then there's the goal. So you can call them FPG, or forecast, projection, and goal. And what I typically will do is I'll put them across the top of the page. FPG across the top of a page. And then I'll list all of the categories of business down the left-hand side. So when I'm in a recruiting business and I put recruiting, what's my recruiting forecast? What's my recruiting projection? And what's my recruiting goal? This gives me a range. Now let me help you define the forecast, projection, and goal concept. The forecast is, that's the number that you take to the bank. That's the number that you will do if your car blows up with you in it. That's the number if all hell breaks loose. Cows are flying by, floods are coming, lions are laying down with the lambs. I mean, it's Armageddon. You will do that number. Okay? So you have to have that base that you're saying, okay, this is the number I know will happen. Know is a K-N-O-W, not an N-O. Okay? So your forecast is the number that you absolutely, positively, like the sun comes up in the east and sets in the west, that's the number you can do. Your projection is the number where you know you're going to make some money. It's not your get-rich number. It's by far your break-even number. But it's the number that, I think this will happen. That's the number that you can live with, knowing that things are good and that you're on a stable ground. And your goal number is the bohog, the big, hairy, audacious goal that is out there when the sun and the moon and the stars are all lined up, and that magical fairy sprinkles the happy dust on it, and all the things flow in the right direction, all the valves are open, all the good things in life are happening around you. You look better and younger and thinner than you've ever looked in your life, and the money is just flowing. That's the goal. So when you put a definition on those three things, now you can get real specific as to what your specific goals are for each of those levels. Now, down the left-hand side of the page is all of the things you do in your business as it relates to your forecast, projection, and goal. So you have your recruiting number, you have your sales numbers, you have your profitability numbers, you have your staffing numbers, you have your renegotiating expense numbers, you have your health and wellness and your family and all of the things that you have in your life around you, and having all those things in place that will get you to be able to be specific about those three categories. Everybody with this so far? Okay. So that's your specific goals. Then you have to be able to measure them. Part the M in SMART is to have a way to measure them. So what is your measuring stick? Is it a pure number? Is it a result? Is it a way that is it developed by your company? How do you measure these numbers? Well, when you have a specific goal, you're already putting a measuring stick in place. You can say, hey, I want to have 25 sales reps. 24 is underproducing. I mean, let's say my forecast is to have 15 reps producing one sale a week. That's my base minimum. Car blows up. That's the one I will do. But my projection is to have 25 doing two. And my BOHOG, man, if I could have 100 doing three, oh man. Everybody understand? Okay, so it's measurable. Now, the next is obtainable. Now, the attainable one is really not only is it attainable, but the how you obtain it. Okay, what are the steps that you're going to take in your SMART goals to get there? This is the questions you've got to ask yourself, and you have to have your answers in place to understand how to achieve the goal. It's almost as if saying, we're going to build a house. The first thing you have to do before you even start building the house is what? Have a blueprint. And before you get the blueprint, you have to find the architect that's in line with your goals and your budget. And that architect will then take your ideas and put them onto paper, which becomes the plan. So the architect puts the plan together, and the plan is a step-by-step process. For instance, his plan would not call for putting the roof up before the walls are up, before the foundation is in, before you dig the hole. In other words, he would have the step-by-step. And if you've ever looked at comprehensive plans of building a home, which I've had the fortune and misfortune to do, is they're in pages. The first page is the plot, shows you the where the setbacks are, and you see the property lines, and then you see the dots on where the house will sit. And the second plan is the grade that shows how deep they're going to dig the foundation, right? And then the next page shows where the foundation lines are. And it's page after page, which is the process that you go through. So the attainable goal is to have the finished house at the end, which shows all the lighting and the illumination spread and all the things that go into, and then the finishing work that goes into the last things that go in to the house plan. Everybody understands a house plan. But when you have a business, what does the grade page look like in your business? How deep are you going to go into whatever it is you have to do to develop your business and attain your goals? The attainable portion of this is, I think, other than setting the goal itself and being specific, the attainable part is the method in how you're going to achieve the steps to get to where you want to be. The next step, and I could elaborate on this for hours. I think it's clear that it's developing the steps for your own business that has to be done. That's the homework that has to be done. The next, the R in the SMART goal is the relevant part. Now, this is something that gets overlooked a lot in setting goals. But if you're in the multi-level marketing industry, it's never overlooked. And it comes down to 3 letters, which sounds like 1 letter. Why? The relevant part is the why in your goal setting process. If you just want to make $1 million in your business or generate $1 million or earn $1 million, that's all real good. Sounds great. But if there isn't a true why behind it, if there isn't a real relevancy to who you are and what you're about, it's just, like Zig Ziglar used to say, a meaningless generality. Okay, if you just have a desire to make money, your relevancy is not clear. Now, you guys have all heard me talk about law of attraction at one point or another, and the universe is very, very obedient. The universe will give you whatever you want. It'll also give you what you don't want if you're not clear enough. But if you don't know why you want something, the universe becomes confused. And a confused mind says no, whether it's a customer or the universe. So if you're not clear on your relevancy as to why you're going after this goal, or why you're looking to achieve whatever it is today that you were talking about, or what it is you want to achieve tomorrow, whatever it is you're talking about, you don't understand what it is, so you'll become distracted, and the next shiny object will become more relevant to you. And this is where people get derailed on SMART goals, is they don't have a clear relevancy as to why they're going after it. Now, I would warn you to stay away from platitudes. I'm doing it for my family. I'm doing it to save the planet. I'm doing it because it's the right thing to do. The universe assumes that. People are generally good people. Even people who do the wrong things think they're doing it for the right reasons. I stole because we were hungry. Okay? So it's important to make sure that you're clear on the relevancy of what it is your goal means to you. Now, in a partnership like Bruce and Sherry has, being aligned is almost more important now than anything else. If Bruce is saying, hey, we should go left because left is, the right path to go on, and Sherry is saying, no, 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 we're going to go right because the right path is where it's better for this. And there's discourse in the discourse in the discourse. If there's discourse in the relevancy as to how that merges the business toward the goal, it'll never get to where it wants to go because the two are looking off in 2 different directions. So if you have a partner in your business, or more importantly, it's like the movie My Big Fat Greek Wedding. The woman, the mother said, the man is the head, but the woman is the neck, right? The woman is the one who can turn the head. Okay. And if you, and I'm going to say that in reverse, the woman is the head, but the man is the neck in a spousal relationship. If you're in a spousal relationship, it's imperative that your relevancy in your business is clear to your spouse or your children or your grandchildren, because they have to know why you're so driven by your business. My children grew up walking through the front door, coming off the bus. My office was in the front of the house. So I would see them getting off the bus and running up the front steps to the house, and they would come charging in the house. And I trained them to come in quietly because they'd come in and go, Dad, you got to hear this about school. And I'm on a business call. Or they would come running in and saying, can you take me to Susie's house? And I'm like, I'm working. So after a while, they would come in and peek around the door and see if I was on the phone, and then they would go into it if I wasn't. So they had to understand that the house and the pool and the vacations and the parties and the fun and the dad being home was all a benefit that cost them the need to come in quietly because dad could be doing something to benefit all those things. Everybody's favorite radio station is WIFFM. What's in, oh, WIIFM. What's in it for me? WIIFM. What's in it for me? And when everybody around you understands WIIFM, they then join your mission. They then join your quest. They then understand the relevancy of your SMART goal. And finally, the T is it needs to be time-based. There needs to be a definitive, clear time factor. I mentioned I want to have 25 reps who are selling 2 sales per week, both at the minimum. That's my forecasted goal. But that's coming from a point of when am I going to get that? If I'm thinking, oh, well, I get 25, that's about 2 a month. I don't get the last 2 until the last month of the year, which doesn't serve me in 2021. So when am I going to have those 25 reps in place? Well, I'll be very honest with you. I set this goal a couple of weeks ago, and I now have 25 people who've applied to be sales reps already in the last week. Now, what's happening is they're coming in and getting engaged in the sales process through training and whatnot, and they are going to be in the learning curve over that first November, December period. But by the first of the year, my intent, my clearly defined intent is come January 5th, when business reopens to the world after the holiday. When business reopens, I'm going to have 25 fully trained salespeople who are going to be targeting 2 sales a week at a minimum. And that's my low end projection. So having a timed message to yourself. When am I going to hit these goals? Maybe it's, for an accounting firm, maybe it's I'm going to be getting 3 new customers a month. Maybe I don't think you can get 30 customers and be able to handle them all in the same month. But having 30 over the course of a year is a good progression. And then you can say each one will generate this much. So, the first one will generate, the first month will generate a lot more money in the year. And then the scale goes down to the last one only generates a small amount, but it goes into your base for the next year. So it's having a time sensitive, a time factor, and putting uh, clearly defined outcomes on the timing of when your goals are achieved. So I'm going to end there. I'm going to open it up to any questions, and I'm going to not record the questions because they could be not relevant to this. But I want to thank you all for listening, and thank you for your eye contact feedback. That really was helpful because I could see it was being received, and I hope this was all helpful to everybody. So I'm going to end the recording now.